Hi, my name is Ali Roberts. I'm the writer of The Unseen, a reverse kidnapping rom-com.
Welcome to Love Letters and Books, a podcast for anyone who loves a good story. This is a soft space to explore romance in books where no topic is too taboo. I'm your host, Casey, and this week I am sitting down with author Ali Roberts. Today's episode will most likely feel like you've just curled up on the couch with your funniest new friend who just so happens to write electric banter and reverse captive rom-coms. From the moment we hit record in this episode, it was a ton of laughter and just a warm, messy, honest conversation about following your passion, creating something you love, and then letting it be seen by the world. We're talking creative bravery today. The kind where you're more curious than you are scared. If you're craving late 90s rom-com movie vibes, then I know that Ali is going to be your favorite new author. And make sure to stay to the end so that you can hear Ali's beautiful love letter she wrote to her younger self. Welcome to the Love Letters and Books podcast, Ali. I am so glad you're here.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
I love how formal we both sound right now because our pre-production call was full of giggles, and literally when you and I just signed on, we were giggling, but we just sounded like we should be on like the nightly news. So that's okay.
My Britishness really came through then as well. Like, thank you so much for having me.
All of the media training came through. But you know what? That's probably a really beautiful place to start, because I will say I reached out to you. We don't know each other, but we had this non-stop extra long pre-production call where I probably should have just hit record and posted that as an episode because it just was so great to get to know you. And I'm saying that as someone
like we connected so well.
I know, we're finishing each other's sentences.
My husband was like, wasn't that meant to be 15 minutes? I was like, yeah, I don't know what happened. Like we just
yapped hard. But I'm wondering, does that happen for you with everyone? Because, and I don't need to feel special. I'm just saying, like, is that your personality? Is that we're getting to know you? Like, you are just the warmest, most open person. I felt like I could have talked to you about anything. Is that you?
I think one-on-one, yes. If it was in a group, no. So I think one-on-one, I connect with people quite well. In a group, it takes a while for me to feel comfortable to like jump in, you know?
Yeah. I'm the opposite. I could stand on stage in front of 10,000 people and give a presentation at a moment's notice.
God,
but one-on-one,
no.
One-on-one, I'm a little like, oh, hi, which is interesting because I'm doing a podcast.
That does not come across at all.
Faking it. But I'm so glad that I'm sitting here talking to you and getting to know you, because I saw you post about your book on social media, and as I often do, and as I often say on this podcast, that's how I'm inspired. I see something I like, I almost try to go in blind and just immerse myself in the story. And so I picked up your book, The Unseen, which was published in June, correct? June 2025. And I was just devouring it, loving the banter, loving the chemistry, the characters, the story, everything. And so obviously I had to sit down and talk to you. So Ali, for anyone who has not read it, can you give us a little overview of The Unseen?
Yeah, I definitely can. So basically, it's a reverse kidnapping rom-com. And the FMC, her brother is working for a criminal. She thinks he's a criminal. And basically, she decides to take matters into her own hands. And instead of having a logical conversation with someone, she decides she knows this guy because he's been going to this cafe she goes to for like 2 years, and he kind of just stares at her. And she's like, what a weirdo. And then she just decides to, can you tell I'm my own target audience? I talk about the book and I just start laughing. I know what I like, right?
I get that and I appreciate it. I actually love that. So keep going.
I do it all the time. I've told this so many times to people and I still laugh every time. But she decides to kidnap him. And the whole premise of the first part of the book is that he's like, yeah, okay, sure, like I'll come with you, like, yeah, I'll chloroform myself and I'll get in your car. I don't know who you are really, but like, sure, I'm game. I'm here for it. And she is a little bit confused, when he's happy to be there. And then it kind of becomes this like back and forth of them just working each other out. She has no idea why he's happy to be there, really. And he's like, how am I going to get her to fall in love with me? And so he was a criminal, but had this sort of breakdown a couple of years before. And we've really moved past that point of where he's this violent person, which I really wanted that to be part of the book. I didn't really want to have him going through this crisis of who he is. He knows who he is very much, and it's just about implementing it and maybe going against the nature that he's had his entire life. So he has this therapist on speed dial, Dr. Alfie, he's just like a walking eye roll, because he's like, oh my God, this guy, like, just don't be an idiot. Like, that's all you need to do. So yeah, it kind of goes from there. And then obviously he does make it out of the basement at some point. So you'll be pleased to know.
You will all be pleased to know he makes it out of the basement. I absolutely loved the book. Obviously, it was so humorous. The back and forth was so good. The dynamics between everyone was incredible. And then I was also thinking about how it's a captive romance, but who's actually being held captive? Like, who's actually being held in the basement? Yes, this big, tough criminal is in the basement, but he has this girl in the palm of his hand at the same time in a certain way. So I love the dynamic. I love this spin on it. And, that's just the story. But then you have these beautiful characters that you brought to life. So I would love to just spend a few minutes on each of them. Tell us about Olivia. Like, who is she and why did she need her story to be told?
For me, Olivia was very much, she's quite young. She's only like 24. So I think she's just sort of coming of age, which I guess is a little bit late for coming of age, but I don't know. I still feel like I'm coming of age and I'm 33. So she's just sort of working out what she wants with her life. And she's had to take on a lot of responsibility when her parents died and, looking after her younger brother. And she feels so much responsibility for him. And I think I really liked that, I don't know, she was just, in my mind, this person that she has a plan and that's what she's going to do and she's going to execute the plan, and then it all just goes to shit, which I really like, that she kind of, despite all of these warring emotions, because she's a very emotional person, really, but she just kind of keeps it all inside, whereas Austin's the total opposite. Like, he really does show his emotions and he battles against showing those emotions all the time, especially with her, because he wants to give her space and things like that, whereas she's quite contained. And then you can see from the beginning to the end how much she relaxes. And I really like that, because I feel like in my early 20s, I was so like tense. And now I'm just, I don't know. I feel like I write one of my personalities in each character and the other one goes. But yeah, I wanted her to relax. That's what I wanted.
Oh, well, it was almost an epic love letter to an eldest daughter / man of the house.
Sure, absolutely.
When you think about it, the psychology of it, she gets this captive audience who gets to just listen to her and she gets to just feed him. He's not going anywhere. He adores her. It's like, you really put us out there. You really did not hold back with what the girls need. So I loved that so much. And then we have Austin, who is so much more than meets the eye. You gave him so much depth and texture. And I love how you also give him this other character for us to get to know him through his relationship with Dr. Alfie and through all the bizarre inner monologue. I'm going to do this. I want to do this. I should do that. I'm not doing that anymore. But it's such a beautiful way to get to know someone and to fall in love with the character. So what was it about Austen that really spoke to you, that you maybe fell in love with as a writer?
I really do love someone that's just utterly devoted to their lady, you know? And he is the epitome of that from the get-go as well. Like, he is, I'm here for it, whatever you want, I'm down for it. Like, and I just loved that about him. And I really like a redeemable character and someone who, it's not really an outside influence for him at this point, because he's gone through this transition where he's now living this like civilian lifestyle where he's no longer a criminal. But inside of him, it's still whether he feels worthy enough, or, you know, whether he deserves to have this kind of love from somebody. And not only just from her, but from these friendships around him that are sort of growing. And I really liked that he had Dr. Alfie, because Dr. Alfie didn't really make it to the book until draft 3, because I felt like something was missing. And I was like, oh, wouldn't it? And I don't know what came to me, but I was like, wouldn't it be so funny if he had a therapist? And the therapist was like this big brother. And even though they're the same age, they went to high school together. And, you know, I think Austen, the way he idolizes Dr. Alfie is so lovely. Like, there's no qualms about it at all. He's just so honest with his feelings for people. And I really like that. Like, I just find him to be a very genuine character.
Yeah.
But I did make him up, so I don't know.
He's actually me. No, I'm just kidding. No,
I'm such a genuine person.
what I also thought was interesting, though, because there's a parallel here that I'm seeing where Austen is not going to be another burden in Olivia's life. Like, he's not someone she has to be responsible. I know she's taken him captive, but he's like the least amount of responsibility ever. But what I'm thinking about is also she is unburdened with being with him on that journey of that coming to awareness, which I thought was really beautiful, that you did not make her a part of that. Like, he's already been on the journey, he's already starting to do the work, and then he crosses paths with this woman and he kind of obsesses over for her for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then it starts. And I just found that really interesting, that I mean, that's a dream too, right? That someone would be interested in investing in themselves and taking a different direction in their life and making a change, and she doesn't have to wear that burden as well. So I just thought it was really beautiful, whether intentional or not, that we meet him at that part of his journey where he's already made the decision, right?
That was so important to me, because I do feel like, not just in real life, but in some books as well, the onus is definitely on the, oh, she saved me and she's made me become emotionally mature and things like that. And it's like, women bear all these responsibilities in real life. I didn't really want to bring that into fiction, to be honest. Like, this is my fantasy realm of what I would love an ideal situation to be, and fixing a man is not that.
Yeah, no, I get nothing from that at all. It's so funny. I love that we're talking about this, because that does
This is
nothing
an
for me.
like a feminist issue for sure.
It's so funny though, because I used to be a psychotherapist, and I think people would assume like, oh, you love fixing people. I'm like, nope, I actually like them. Nope.
People fix themselves.
I love when they fix themselves. I can kind of just cheer them on and learn lessons from them and be inspired. But what a beautiful dynamic that you've invited us into, and this world that you've created. But I have to say something. This is your first book, correct? This is your first published book. And here you are. It's hysterical. People love it. And you've introduced us to these characters in this world that we all love. What has that been like for you? I mean, this is June that you did this. We're recording this in October.
Yeah, it's been actually the wildest ride, because I did not really see this playing out the way that it has. I really thought it would be like, I don't know, 5 people would read it a month or something. It's been a bit more than that. It's been like, there's been a lot of feedback, and September, especially after we spoke, one of my TikToks went a bit viral. I think it got over like 80,000, which, you know, I've seen people with like 500,000, but like 80,000, I was like, whoa, oh my God. And then I can see, because TikTok for me, I can see the readership goes up with the TikToks. It's so parallel. It's, undeniable, really. I don't know if that's because I did put in a lot of effort on, or I have been putting in a lot of effort on TikTok and Instagram. I guess that is the reason, I suppose, but it's just been a wild ride. And it's funny because like the couple of weeks leading up to the release date, I just kept saying to my husband, like, I think I'm making a terrible mistake. I think this is going to ruin my life and I'm going to be 2 days away from getting arrested or something. I don't know. And he's like, if you keep saying that, you're going to have to give me $5 every time that you say that. And so I think I owed him like $1,000 by the end of it.
That's so interesting, though. Let's pause there for
Yeah.
a second, because I feel like you just said something so relatable. If I believe it or not, I know, but listen, I can relate to that feeling. So, but I'm just
Yeah.
going to say, throwing it out there to anyone listening, of doing something that you've wanted to do, doing something that's creatively inspired, that you've poured yourself into, and then feeling like, oh, wait, I'm waking up in the middle of the night thinking I'm about to be arrested and my
Yeah.
whole life is going to be destroyed. Maybe I shouldn't
Yeah.
do that. That's a pretty relatable feeling of being at that crossroads. So I want to talk about that versus
Yeah.
how you feel about it now.
Yeah, I mean, that was obviously not great because not sleeping, not eating, just sort of having panics about ruining my life. And just, I guess, feeling foolish if people didn't like it was a big concern of mine. And I know we spoke about this before with one of my friends. She had started her own business years ago. And I was like, how did you do that? Because I can't do anything. Like, I'm my own worst enemy. And I stop myself doing things because I'm too scared or I'm too concerned with how others are going to look at me and think that I'm silly. And she's like, well, I was more curious than I was scared. And I was like, oh my God, yeah. Okay. Like, I actually love that. And I took that with me into 2025 and I was like, I'm going to do something big this year. And I think it's going to be the book. Like, I think this is what I'm going to do. And I might look like an absolute arse, but I might not. And don't get me wrong, not all the reviews have been nice. Some people did not like it at all, and that's okay. And that's fine. But the overwhelming response was that people found it very funny. And I definitely seem to have found people that have the same sense of humor as me, which is so good. And I was surprised to find so many people loved Austin because he is a different kind of MMC, I think. He's a bit more gentle, I think. I mean, he's not really gentle, but like, I don't know. In my mind, he is.
Well, here's what I'm picking up as the reader, though. Like, he's very multidimensional, and I think that's the thing. He's strong, but he's soft. He's gentle, but he's sexual. But he's patient, but he's very impulsive. So maybe he's a Gemini. I don't know. He's got all of these.
I'm a Gemini, which makes so much sense.
Wow. I have to tell you, I feel really good that I just called that one. But I'm just saying he's a lot of things in one,
Yeah.
It's that Walt Whitman quote, I contain multitudes. So that's very much awesome. He's a Renaissance man, okay? He could be locked up, but he could sneak a phone in. So I
so
feel like
funny.
that was part of it, is that you wrote someone who has all of these different sides to his personality, and I don't know, they're all pretty lovable. And at the core of the book, she's safe with him. And it's so interesting how that comes across, even the way he talks to her, the way he engages with her. She's always safe with him. And I thought that was a really beautiful thing that came through your book. Even given the captive scenario, given all of the things that are going on, I don't know. I mean, that stands out.
Yeah. I think his whole character is like, having gone through such a violent upbringing, he doesn't want anyone to feel that way with him ever. And like, there's the bar scene as well. We won't get too much into it in case people haven't read it, but like, there's a bar scene where she's kind of worried about how he's going to react to something. And he is cool as a cucumber. So calm. He does need a little pep talk from Alfie, the therapist, but he's just like, no, I'm good. I'm chill. Whereas I feel like in other romance books, that would have been an opportunity for him to be not aggressive, maybe, but like show his dominance and like strength in a different way. Whereas for him, the strength is being reserved and calm, and it's like a very different take on it, I think.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. And I think it really pushes back against maybe a belief that's out there in the world that strength or masculinity has to come across in a certain way. And maybe this is just an opportunity to open our eyes. And what a different feeling, right? When someone walks in the room and you feel like your whole nervous system can relax around them because you know that they just have something handled, or that they'll be calm, or that
Yeah.
they'll figure it out. Like, that's a pretty appealing type of personality trait.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I always do like to touch on, going even further of what it's like to put yourself out there. Because, yes, we're doing this podcast about this beautiful book you wrote, and people are listening for all different reasons. But I'm always thinking, everything we do is grist for the mill. Like, somebody listening could be in that same space you were in and thinking, like, I have a story to tell. There's something I want to do, whether it's a book or music or art, just something that they want to put out there. And, you know, that hesitation of how you will be received, perceived, misconstrued can really prevent someone from stepping into their truth, their voice, that space. And so, since you're so fresh in it, I feel like I want to go even further from what you shared, about that
Yeah.
initial hesitation, being in this space, calling yourself an author, being out there on social media, promoting your work. Like, that's a big deal, right? To an anonymous audience. But
Yeah.
also, what is that like to people who know you? Sharing your work with people who are like, hey, Allie, what are you up to? And you're like, well, I just published a book about a captive romance. It's really funny. And you're like, what
Yeah.
is that like for you?
It is strange because actually I don't live in the UK. I live in Australia, and I had just gone to visit my family for the first time in 4 years, and everybody asked about the book, and it was strange because it's like my mother-in-law and my husband's great auntie Jackie who had read it, and I was like, whoa, Auntie Jackie, what did you think? Like, she said she liked it, but it's very hard to tell sometimes with Brits because we're very polite people. So she probably hated it, but which I think, it was her choice to read it, I guess. So yeah, it's a strange one. I definitely feel like I could have gone the anonymous route, and I did consider it, choosing like a pen name. But ultimately, I was like, I do want my own name to it. Like, I think if I'm going to do something, I need to be a bit braver, and like I said, with going into 2025 and trying to be a bit braver than I was last year, I feel like if I'd given myself a pen name for my situation, it would have felt like a cop out because I didn't believe in it, which isn't the same for everybody. But I think I needed to stand up and be like, this is what I enjoy writing about. This is what I like to do. And it took so much back and forth. And my poor husband, like, gosh, he's just, I am relentless. Like, I really am. So I think if you feel like this is what you want to do, I would 100% say do it, but you have to give it your all. And I feel like the last 6 months or so, like I know it was published 4 months ago, but like probably 6, 7 months, I've been really, really hammering social media. I feel like I wanted to give myself a fighting chance to do something really well. And I'm so glad I did, because I would have regretted it so much if I'd just put it up and not bothered to do any kind of other research on what I need to do. Like, and it's so hard with authors or any kind of artist, really. The main thing you want to do is write. For me, I just want to write all the time. And actually, 60% of my time, I'm content creating, I'm bookkeeping, I'm like trying to do all these other things just so I can do that 40%. And and I don't have kids. And I just think, God, how do people do it if they've got children? And, I just hats off to anyone that can even write the thing. I think that's amazing. And it's worth hearing your story because you've taken all this time and effort to write it.
Is there something in your life that helps you to be brave and move forward in those moments when that internal monologue is just getting really loud? It's like, they're coming for you. Like, don't do it. Is there something in your life that keeps you going that we wouldn't know about that you could share?
Honestly, I found my 20s incredibly difficult. Like, I was not happy at all. I think we're all, I don't know how other millennials feel, but we've been promised certain things that have not materialized. And I don't know. I just think, like, when you got told you would go to university and then you would get a really good paying job, and then you'll have all these things that are like seem kind of basic, like your own home and like being able to afford to have children if you want them, or like whatever. Throughout my entire 20s, I was like, wow, none of this has materialized. And I found it very difficult to come to terms with the life I had expected and the life that I was living, I suppose. And when me and my husband, we moved to Australia at the end of our 20s, just before we both turned 30. And I don't know, I think we kind of started to more focus on a life that we wanted to live rather than what we had expected or what was expected of us, I suppose. And part of that for me was exploring lots of different options on things that I like to do in my free time. I've done candle making, embroidery, like I've done lots of different hobbies, which none of them really, like, I enjoyed them at the time, but nothing's really stuck like this. And then, I don't know, I just started writing as kind of something to do while we were on holiday one year. And I just carried on. And I don't know really what happened, but I was like, I wanted to do something difficult that could be mine and that no one really could put a claim to, if that makes sense.
Oh, that really does.
Wow, we're deep diving here.
It's good. No, it feels really good. I love what you just shared, and I think it just resonated because, and I'll speak from the I think just as a woman, but as myself, I do feel that desire to have your own thing that someone else isn't going to lay claim to. It is interesting how often that happens, right? And right? And then I also think it's so interesting how you mentioned all of those hobbies and like none of them turned into a professional thing, but it's also just moving you along in a space where you feel encouraged to keep trying new creative things. You have no idea what the next creative thing is going to lead to. So I think it's really beautiful. I actually love that you shared that and that you had all of these different things that you were trying, and then you just become a published author. And then that's just like why you end up doing.
A web, you know?
Why not?
I think that was for me. When I went home, we were joking about it, how none of these creative endeavors kind of took off, and the candle, like my mum had made like 40 candles or something, but they were lumpy, so I had to keep trying different ways of making them. And my mum was laughing, and she's like, you didn't even offer me one of the candles. And I was like, it was lumpy. Like, why would you want a lumpy candle? And then and then now she's like, I think this is better. You should stick with this one. I was like, okay.
That's so funny. Well, I appreciate that you're sharing all of that because we can joke and say, oh, we're going deep, but it's so beautiful to get to learn a little bit more about what goes on behind the scenes, right? Because we can know people through social media, we can know them through their art, their words, their writing, but then also I feel like we gain a lot of inspiration, whether we know it or not, when we watch the person next to us doing something. And whether or not anyone listening to this is writing their own story or doing something else, I just think that there's a lot to be, there's a lot to be taken from someone else's bravery or someone stepping into that space. So I love when we have conversations about this because I feel like I've gained so much in my life when I'm in those spaces watching people do things. And I love the story you shared about your friend because those are all of my friends. All of my friends will wake up and just be like, I'm just going to build a business today. And then I'll just build a website. I'll just make it happen. I'm going to see what happens tomorrow. And I'm like, But
Like,
we're the
where's
6
that
months of
coming from?
stressed about it. I mean, have you cried about it yet? You know what I mean? So it's very
Yeah.
interesting to watch that and to take so much inspiration and motivation from that. So I guess that's what I'm thinking of. And then
Yeah, for sure.
thinking about your journey in this space, and I don't mean to rush you because this book just came out, and I'm not a big believer in pushing for sort of the fast fashion of books. Take the time you want to
Yeah.
take, but what is your writing journey looking like now that this book is published?
Yeah, I have quite a few things in the works. I have a few things in the works. So it got to, I think, February, and I had been editing the first book so much that I think I get all of my stress out. It's kind of like running. I get my stress out from writing, and I hadn't written anything because I'd been editing. I'd been editing for 2 months, and I was like, do you know, I just need to sit and write something because I'm gonna lose it. And my husband was like, well, take a break. Like, just write something. So I wrote the first draft for Dr. Alfie's book in 5 weeks. And I was like, I don't know how it just poured out. Like, it was so quick. And then went back to the other book, obviously finished that, published that. And then I reread the Dr. Alfie book and I changed the entire first half. I was like, no. I loved the second half. It just wasn't
Yeah.
very funny. It was very serious. And I was like, maybe I was just super grumpy in February, but this is not funny at all. So Dr. Alfie's book is ready to go, and it will be published on the 5th of December this year. So yeah, it took a while to kind of really work out where I wanted the story to go. I really knew that it's a workplace romance, so I really knew the structure of where I wanted them to start and where I wanted them to finish, and the ending I had down, that was all good. Really liked that. But yeah, the first half I was like, this just needs to be so much funnier than it is. So I had like gone to the pub with my husband, and we did this like brainstorming session where I was like, what could happen that would be really, really funny? So the premise of the book is it's a workplace romance, and we see both these characters in the unseen, and it's Dr. Alfie with his office manager, Mia. And basically, we have a little hint of it in the unseen towards the end of where Dr. Alfie is at. So the way he's behaving with his patients, which is wildly inappropriate, to be honest. So he turns up to things where he should not know that that is happening. Like, how does he know? So essentially, he's acting a little bit unconventionally. And his office manager, Mia, who is a PhD student in getting her PhD in psychology, is very much looking to become a psychologist and needs a good reference from a good employer in the next 6 months or so. So she finds out that he is misbehaving, and she needs him to hold it together until she can get her reference. So basically, there's a lot of shenanigans and a lot of back and forth. And they get into this situation where they end up having to spend quite a lot of time together, and their relationship really develops from there. And it's kind of cool because they knew each other before, and they both have this mutual attraction, but they're colleagues. So that's a big no-no for him. Like, there's some lines he won't cross until he does. So, yeah. I
Good for
think
you,
it's
Alfie.
much funnier than the first book. I don't know why, but I just
Really?
loved it.
I love
Yeah,
him as
yeah.
a character. Oh no, I loved him. I thought he was great. And even their dynamic, the way you sprinkled it into the unseen and we kind of got to
Yeah.
see them a little bit was really interesting. What's the name of that book?
It's called After Hours.
And coming
Yeah.
out December 5th of this year.
December 5th. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Perfect.
So it'll still
Oh.
be on Amazon, Kindle Unlimited, everything. So, yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. Well,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not going to put words in your mouth. This feels a little meteoric. This is 2 books in a very short span of time. And that is incredible. Is this universe going to expand, or do you feel like the world you built will end with Alfie's story? Or do you not know, or do you not want to talk about it yet?
No, I'm more than happy. You know me, I will yap all day. So yeah, I think from the unseen, my thought process is that it's branching off into two different series, and whether or not I can keep up with the mental load of creating two series at the same time, I'm not too sure, but we're going to give it a go. The first series starts with Dr. Alfie, and basically that's going to be called the Dinner Club series, and that starts with him, and you will see in the book that he has a dinner club once a month with his university friends, and there are 4 other characters in that dinner club, and there's like an enemies to lovers situation, there's a like friends to lovers situation, and lots of pining. And so the second in that series, I haven't got a title, but that is the enemies to lovers one, and that's more of a murder mystery, so it's a bit off peak, but yeah, so that's kind of in the works as well, so I'm hoping that one's going to be ready by like April. I'm not too sure. I know.
Just someone have a gun to your head? April? Yes. Okay. No, you're incredible. I feel like I'm just in awe of you, of your energy and your focus and how you can execute. I am in no way laughing at you. I'm just like, that is absolutely shocking and incredible. And I'm so excited about this. I really love finding authors who I enjoy their voice. And I want to focus on that for a second, because there is so much banter and back and forth in these books, and your writing voice really comes through. And what is that like for you to discover that you have that, where that can be really challenging for some people? Or, you might like an author, but that part of the dialogue and the back and forth is a little like, it's a little off. Yours is spot on. And what is that like to realize you can do that? Oh, I love it. Oh my God, do I think? Yes, I think. That's why I like stalked you online and invited you on a podcast, because I was sitting there reading this book and just loving the back and forth. And it felt like you were in the room, and it's a room you want to be in. Even with Alfie, who's literally rolling his eyes and just being like, can this guy just like pull it together? Like, their back and forth was great too. So I'm probably thoroughly embarrassing you at this point, but I'm just saying, what is that like to, and we can drop this question if I am embarrassing you.
No, I love it. I love
kind of to recognize that that's a skill you have. It's something you like. It's like almost like a zone of genius you want to drop into.
I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of how my brain works. I don't know. Like, I just feel like the trouble I'm sort of having at the moment, which you might be able to tell, is that I get an idea and I start writing it, and then I bring in these side characters, and I'm like, I actually prefer you, so I'm going to start writing your story. And then I'm like, this is so funny. And then I'm like, oh, well, I actually can't publish this one until the first one's done. So then I've got to hop back to that. And then, I don't know, like, I do find that bit really difficult, because I'm definitely like a reward-based writer. So I'm rewarding myself by letting myself write something of something, by finishing something that I really wanted to finish 2 months ago. But the voices, I don't know, I think I like writing funny things, because, I mean, not to say I'm a funny person, but like, I do get some weird thoughts sometimes, and then I've just got to write it down. But also, I like reading funny rom-coms, and I really like dark rom-coms too. But for me, I just don't think I could sit for a year on a project that's so dark, without any humor at all. For me, it's mainly got to be about the humor, and there's a sprinkle of like darkness into it, and like people acting or behaving badly, or in ways that they shouldn't, I suppose. But I think the voice that comes through, it's just my multiple personalities. It's kind of hard to explain.
Well,
I feel like it's
clearly
just me.
I love it. Loving it, loving the Gemini energy coming through. I think it's been wonderful. But you mentioned some of the things that you do like, and I'm wondering, are there some books that have really stood out for you in the last few years, or books you're looking forward to, authors you love? I really like digging into like what inspires people.
Yeah. So I was having a think about this. For rom-coms, I absolutely adore Tessa Bailey and Megan Quinn. I know she's the way she writes like 4 books a year. I don't know how she does that. I said to my husband, he was like, you need to get like this. You need to be publishing. I was like, I work full time. Like, I don't know how I would ever do that. But yeah, I mean, that's the schedule I'm putting myself on. So she's just insane. Like, and her books are so funny. The banter, because what I like about Megan Quinn is she's not an overly descriptive writer. I know description sometimes can be very good, and I think there's definitely a part of my writing where I don't set the scene enough, and I think that's something that I'm definitely trying to work on. But she is one of those writers where the dialogue and the interactions between characters are so good, you don't care that it's not descriptive and it doesn't set the scene very well, because there's so much banter and it's so funny, and the way they talk to each other, it's so good. So anytime Megan Quinn ever releases anything, I will instantly read it. Like there's not even there's no delay at all. I'll stop what I'm reading to read hers. And Tessa Bailey probably is the same, but the way she writes, it's like in third person. So it's a bit different from other romance books. There's a lot of them where they're written in first person. So I always kind of find reading hers odd. I like it, but I don't think I could write like that. But I do really like her stories. They're so funny. And then I'm trying to read a few more indie authors to support my own community, I suppose. So I have read some really dark ones lately. There's an author called CJ Torrance, and it was about someone that got kidnapped. And I was reading it, and I adored it. It was so good, but it was so dark and gritty, and like it was obsessive. And I was like, wow, this is like the total opposite of my book, except that we both had kidnapping. Like
The full spectrum of a kidnapping experience.
It was so funny. I was reading it and I was like, wow, she's such a beautiful writer. And oh my God, like, what have I done? I've written this absolute shit heap of a book, and it's just laughing at the fact that someone's getting, attacked. And she's just written this so well and whatever. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? But yeah, I mean, there's merits for both, I guess. But
yeah,
that was good. Completely. So I'm trying to read a few more indie authors, but yeah, I actually can't remember the name of that book now. So I think it might be In the Dark.
I'll definitely look it up. I feel like every time I do one of these interviews, I end up with adding like 5 more books to my TBR list, but it's good because I have a podcast about books. So that works out really well for me. But it's interesting because we're talking about rom-coms, right, in writing. But when you think about media, rom-com films are what we probably go to first in our minds. I'm wondering, is there a film that was almost your go-to or an inspiration that is a rom-com?
I don't know that it would be classified as a rom-com, but
is it super dark?
No, it's actually not.
Go on a tangent. I'll join you.
Oh God, it's my favorite film of all time, and I'll tell you my reasons why before I tell you the name of the film. It's because it has romance, it has comedic timing, there's action, there's horror, and there's adventure, and it has Brendan Fraser in it. It is The Mummy. It is so good. Have you ever seen The Mummy?
No, but I did when you said it was your favorite movie of all time. Do I need to watch this tonight? What did I miss?
The way he looks at her in that movie, he's this roughy, tough guy, and he's like this big, roughy, tough American guy, and she's this British Egyptologist. She's a librarian, and she's so like proud of the fact that she's a librarian, and he is just smitten with her, right? And the whole time she is like pretty much the intellectual leader of the group, okay? And what I love about it is that every time there's something to be decided, he looks to her. This is from like 1998 or something. It was astonishing. Like, he's just looking to her, and she is the decision maker, and he's more than happy. He only steps in when it's the roughy tough stuff, and he's like, I just loved it. It's such a great movie. I mean, it's terrible, but it's so good.
But I know what you mean by like, it's terrible, but it's so good.
Yeah.
No, but I do think that that's an interesting thing that you mentioned, because you notice that in film a lot, or even in TV, where something's happening and the only line they give the women is, "What are we going to do?" And I'm like, do you know
Yeah.
any woman in your life in a tough situation who would be looking around being, "What do we do?"
Yeah. No.
That is
No.
not my experience at all.
Mm.
Not even just in my work environment. And I work with a team of incredible women who are just very resourceful. I could not imagine somebody like looking to the group and saying, "Can you fix this? How are you going to do this?" That is pretty bold,
Yeah. No.
especially when you think about it being in the 90s.
Oh,
I
yeah,
love that.
yeah. The director did a fantastic job, and Brendan Fraser, I think, is just adorable. I love him as an actor. I think he's unbelievably charming. Yeah, it's funny because it was a really strong British cast in it, and there was a group of Americans, archaeologists and treasure hunters, and he was separate. He was working with the Brits, and they keep making these jokes about Americans. And they're like, "No offense," and he's like, "None taken." Like, it's just so funny throughout the whole thing. And to be fair, the other American group were behaving in a way that the Brits were just like, "Oh my god, like, what are they doing?" And he's just there, and he like steals some of the tools for her. And I mean, he's a bit of a naughty boy, but like, he just adores her from the get-go. It's wonderful,
Oh, I
in my
love
opinion.
that. Well, it's so interesting because a completely different plot, but that point really shines through in your writing. Somebody being all in and all
Oh
about
yeah.
her, and there's no confusion. And
Yeah.
honestly, I really like that. I find that is like such a beautiful type of storytelling when that's not the question. When he's
Yeah, oh,
all in
for sure, yeah.
immediately. I
Yeah.
really do love that, and it came through in your book so beautifully. Well,
Thank you.
I feel like we've chatted and we're getting to know you a little bit. Is there something about you that maybe we wouldn't know just from seeing social media or, even hearing this interview? Something about you that is sort of core to who you are that maybe we wouldn't pick up on just being spectators or just readers?
Do you know what? That's a really hard question because I am very much an open book. And my friend told me once that my face has subtitles, and I cannot hide anything from my face. So even if I'm quiet and I'm like, "Ugh, I don't like," so even though I just did it then, I'm like, but yeah, I don't know, because I'm very much, yeah, very much an open book. It's kind of a hard question. Oh, I know. I cry all the time. Like, I'm a crier. Like, adverts. We watched an episode of The Office last night, and I was crying from The Office.
You feel your
I feel my
feelings.
Oh yeah, my spectrum of emotions, it's a roller coaster, and I feel them super hard. I feel like as a romance writer, that's a good thing. I feel things a lot.
Well, I
Yeah.
love that you
Yeah.
shared that. I love that. Well, no, I do. And it is a really hard question. It's interesting because I introduced it onto the podcast because it was something I used to ask people when I first met them in a session. And that's a wild way to meet someone and be like, what do I need to know about you as a person to give you the best care possible? And you have
Yeah.
no
Is
idea
this a
where this person's
ruse
going
for
to come
getting new
from.
patients? Is this what this is?
Right? No, I definitely don't see anyone anymore. I'm in a whole different universe now, but I do love it though because I feel like there's just I don't know, there's more than meets the eye to people, and sometimes people have stories about themselves that just haven't been told. And it's interesting when you kind of open the door. Maybe no one has ever asked that, or someone's always assumed something about someone. I think the word is confabulation, where you
Ooh.
take piece of information, you connect them together with a story, you just believe it to be true. And I think that we do that about
Yeah.
other people a lot. So I love kind of actually asking someone. Like, honestly, I would not have known you were a crier. So there you go. And the mummy totally blindsided me. I'm still thinking about it. So there you go.
Honestly, you've got
But
to watch it tonight. He's so good.
you
So
know what? I
good.
might because it's really beautiful here. I'm in Southern California, so the weather's great. And we have a little outdoor movie theater that we built, like a drive-in movie theater in the backyard.
Oh my gosh.
That came out of depression. We were both very sad, and we were like, "What would make us happy?" And we were like, "Let's build a drive-in movie theater in our
I
backyard."
love
And
that.
yeah, we
That's
love
so
it. We
good.
like make our own popcorn, and we have the
Oh,
lights all set up in the trees and a huge
don't! I
screen.
will
And
cry.
yeah,
That's
no,
so
that
nice.
was like our healing summer, is that we watched movies at night outside, and it was just one of those things.
Oh
I think
my
it
god.
was nostalgic, maybe brought us back
Oh, for
to
sure.
childhood. And I mean,
Yeah.
I was watching horror movies all summer. That was my healing journey. I was like, oh, let's watch Friday the 13th and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that'll,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's my secret thing. But one of the things about this podcast that I love is that every time I invite someone on, I also invite them to write and read a love letter, either
Yeah.
to their younger self or to their readers. And so I would love to just give you the floor for you to share your love letter.
Yeah. Sure. I have it prepared. Okay. So this one is kind of to my younger self, but also to Austin as well as the character, because I see a lot of myself in him and his way of feeling a bit unlovable sometimes, and just really coming into himself. So this was to him, but also to me. So, dear younger self, embrace working on things that act as stepping stones to the life that you want. Hard work is quite literally hard. You have to show up when you don't want to, when you're tired, when you think it's pointless, when you think it won't lead to anything good. And sometimes that might be true. Sometimes you'll put in so much effort only for nothing to materialize, at least not in the way you wanted. But hard work teaches you that you can do difficult things. And sometimes the most difficult thing is to just start. Start being the person you want to become, how they would act, how would they talk about themselves and others. Be brave and be curious enough to know that even though taking a leap into the unknown is daunting and frankly terrifying, you'll never know what's possible if you stand still. So stop standing still with the hope that something will just happen to you, because it won't. You have to move, you have to work, and this may be the corniest thing I'll tell myself, but you have to believe.
I loved it, and I love that you shared that with us. I always think you never know when someone's going to listen to this episode that might be the exact perfect thing that they need to hear. So
Yeah.
I really love that you wrote that and shared that. So thanks for doing your
I'm gonna
homework,
cry.
Allie. Well, don't cry yet, because
No.
we are going to wind down. And I always like to check in with everyone who's on and say, how do you like people to get in touch with you? Obviously, we all have social media. Is it a website, a newsletter, TikTok, Instagram? Where can we find you and connect with you?
The best way is either commenting or messaging on TikTok and Instagram. I love it. Like, I received the nicest message from someone the other day on Instagram, and they were like, I was in such a reading slump and I just saw one of your reels and I just picked up the book and I was like, oh, I'll just give it a go. And she said she read it in one sitting. She was laughing out loud and she just wanted to say how grateful she was that I'd written such funny characters. And I was like, what on earth? Like, I woke up in the morning and I was like, oh my God, this is so nice. So yeah, please, honestly, if you want to send a message, as long as it's nice, I will love to read it. If it's mean, please don't send that to me.
Well, I will make sure to put all of the links to your social media platforms in the show notes. So if you enjoyed this episode with Allie or you picked up the unseen, definitely check out the show notes. You can connect with her there. And Allie, I am so excited that we got to talk to you, and I cannot wait for the next books and hopefully to have you back on to yap a little bit more, because I really had a great time with you.
Me too. Thank you so much. It's been so fun. I will yap all day long as well. This will be a 5-hour podcast.
Exciting.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Love Letters and Books, a podcast for anyone who loves a good story. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to follow, rate, and review this podcast on your favorite listening platform. You can find me on both Instagram and TikTok at Love Letters and Books. And if you're interested in being a guest on Love Letters and Books, suggesting your favorite author, or just want to write in an original love letter to yourself or someone else to be read on air, please send me an email at lovelettersandmixtapes@gmail.com.